Hello, Monika here. So, on the internet, you can find various personality tests or models to determine your personality traits. For example, MBTI, the Kiersey temperament sorter, the Enneagram, the Big Five personality traits. Most of these tests or models involve answering several questions, after which you receive a result in the form of names or categories that best fit you, along with a description of that result. The main reason why those tests are created is the desire to understand oneself and others. People in general like to belong to a certain group, to feel that they belong to something bigger than them. MBTI is one of the most popular tests, but because of its popularity, there are also many errors when it comes to its interpretation. You might hear, for example, that this is a made-up theory that categorizes people into 16 types, that the descriptions on those websites are too general and resemble horoscopes more than anything else. After taking the test once, you get one result, but after taking the same test after a few days, you get another result. I first encountered the MBTI about 6 years ago. My brother sent me the 16personality.com website and told me to do that test because then I would know what personality type I am. He suggested that I take the test because he has done it and the description that he received suited him perfectly. Back then, my brother's result was the INTJ, so the architect personality type. Now that I know the theory, that I observe his behavior, I know that he is not an INTJ, he is an ENTJ, so the commander personality type. However, what does this incorrect result of that test suggest? It suggests that the critics of this test was right, because the descriptions that you can get on the websites are often too general, since my brother thought that the description of an INTJ suited him, why he's an ENTJ. It indicates that you can't rely 100% on that test alone, as it may yield incorrect results. It means that this whole science is presented in a very engaging way since it's popular, but it lacks many explanations, so it would make the psychologist to trust that test more, and it would reduce misunderstanding because of that test. Take, for example, one of my favorite speakers, Jordan Peterson. He's an excellent person, but when you listen to him, he's kind of against MBTI, and he's very pro the Big Five. Both he and many psychologists have grounds to be cautious and not fully trust the test results. MBTI is just a test. It doesn't talk that much about the fundamentals from which one should start talking, which are really game changers and describe you more than you could describe yourself. MBTI doesn't talk that much about the cognitive functions. Cognitive functions should be the basis for the entire personality descriptions. When you connect knowledge about cognitive functions, temperaments, interaction styles, and the MBTI four-letter classification, you can truly change the game. But from the beginning, for a full understanding, what is MBTI anyway? Let's travel back in time. About a century ago, there lived a man named Carl Jung, a Swiss psychiatrist and psychologist. He was one of the pioneers of depth psychology, within which he formulated his own concept known as analytical psychology. Jung proposed that people experience the world through four principal psychological functions: sensation, intuition, feeling, and thinking. He believed that one of these functions dominates a person most of the time. However, all four functions are used at different times depending on the circumstances. These mental activities, which Jung referred to as psychological functions, can be used in either an extraverted or introverted manner, attitudes. There are 8 distinct processes resulting from the combination of these functions. Every individual has the capacity to employ all 8 processes, although their level of consciousness may vary. Additionally, Jung categorized psychological functions into 2 main groups: perception and judgment. Jung proposed that there are multiple cognitive processes, mental functions, through which we experience the world, now often simplified to around 8 processes for clarity. Each individual has access to all 8 of these processes, although they may have varying preferences. While Jung didn't specify a fixed number of personalities or processes, he focused on understanding the rich variations within individual psyche. These processes are not a rigidly closed system. They remain dynamic and can change over time. For simplicity, contemporary interpretations often highlight these processes distinctly, as you can see on the image. But how it all connects to the MBTI? The Myers-Briggs Type Indicator is a tool developed based on the theories of Carl Jung. Isabel Briggs Myers, along with her mother, Katherine Briggs, expanded upon Jung ideas and developed the MBTI as a practical application of Jungian theory. The MBTI assigns individuals a 4-letter type code based on their preferences across 4 dichotomies: extraversion, introversion, sensing, intuition, thinking, feeling, and judging, perceiving. With 2 options for each of the 4 categories, there are a total of 16 possible personality types. So, if you take the MBTI test, you'll undoubtedly receive one of the 16 personalities encoded in 4 letters. For example, an individual with the type code ENTJ would be described as having preferences for extraversion, intuition, thinking, and judgment, while someone with the code ISFP would prefer introversion, sensing, feeling, and perceiving. When we come back to Jung's ideas, we will see some connections. Jung did indeed discuss extraversion and introversion, sensing and intuition, and thinking and feeling as fundamental aspects of personality. However, he did not explicitly use the terms perception and judgment in the same dichotomous sense as the others. MBTI focuses on extraversion and introversion, sensing and intuition, thinking and feeling, and judging and perceiving. However, it's important to note that while Jung referred to judging and perceiving functions, the MBTI uses judging and perceiving as preferences rather than functions. The first 3 letter pairs in the MBTI, I, E, S, and T, F, are directly derived from Carl Jung's concepts of introversion, extraversion, sensing, intuition, and thinking, feeling, respectively. However, there may be some differences or nuances in how these concepts are operationalized and applied in the MBTI compared to Jung's original ideas. Jung's original concepts are multifaceted and dynamic. The MBTI simplified those functions into dichotomous preferences. In the MBTI, each dichotomy is presented as a strict either-or choice. For example, extraversion versus introversion, with individuals being categorized into one pole or the other. However, Jung viewed introversion and extraversion as more of a continuum, recognizing that individuals can exhibit traits of both orientations at different times and in different situations. Another example, the preference pairs of perceiving and judging in the MBTI also have their roots in Jung's framework of perception and judgment. While Jung did not explicitly use the letters P and J, the concepts they represent in the MBTI are derived from his broader ideas about the functions of perceiving and judging. However, there indeed may be some interpretation and adaptation involved in how Myers-Briggs applied those concepts to create the MBTI framework. While the MBTI framework has popularized some of the Jung's theories and made them more accessible, it's very important to recognize that the MBTI is not a direct representation of Jung's work. The MBTI was developed by Isabel Briggs Myers and her mother, Katherine Briggs, who were inspired by Jung ideas, but also introduced their own interpretations and modifications. Through the MBTI's four-letter type code, individuals now have a similar language to discuss personality differences, the concept that previously was confined only to academic circles. Furthermore, the MBTI has provided a structured framework for exploring personality preferences and has allowed individuals to recognize the sequence of cognitive functions within each personality type. While Jung did not explicitly outline such a sequence, the MBTI categorization has shed light on the hierarchy of cognitive processes that influence individuals' perception and decision-making. However, it's important to acknowledge that within the MBTI community, there is a tendency to focus more on a surface-level description of personality types rather than delving into the deeper understanding of cognitive functions. The true essence of Jung's theory lies in the dynamic interplay of those functions within the psyche, which can offer profound insights into individuals' behavior and development. It's worth noting that within the MBTI community, abbreviations for psychological functions such as NI, FE, TI, etc. are commonly used. They serve as a kind of shorthand for describing preferences for those functions. Jung described that mental functions have different ranks depending on the personality type, meaning that some functions may be more dominant or more developed than others within a given type. However, he did not establish a strictly defined order of these functions for each type. In contrast, Myers and Briggs took it a step further by creating detailed personality profiles for each type, which include a specified order of preferred functions. For example, in the case of the ENTJ personality type, the first preferred function is extroverted thinking, and the second is introverted intuition. This precisely defined order of functions allows for the creation of unique personality profiles for each type within the MBTI system. As a result, individuals can better understand their cognitive preferences and their impact on their behavior and interactions with others. Once we know our four letters, we can decode and understand how we use the 8 processes, and here all magic begins. And that magic is often overlooked while doing only an MBTI test, and when people focus only on the 4-letter code. So, essentially, the MBTI offers a simplified yet insightful glimpse into personality by categorizing individuals into one of 16 types based on 4 dichotomies. However, it doesn't extensively explore the underlying cognitive functions that shape these types. Understanding these functions and their order of preference can provide profound insights into how those individuals perceive and interact with the world. So, each person possesses all 8 cognitive functions, but their utilization and prominence vary. Deciphering the 4-letter MBTI code can unveil these preferences and shed light on the intricacies of personalities. Delving deeper into the functions, their development, conscious and unconscious aspects can revolutionize our understanding of an individual. Okay, but why do people get wrong results from the test? Or why do one they are one personality and the other they another? Well, sometimes the fault is not from the test itself, but because of the person who takes that test. You might answer based on how you wish to see yourself rather than how you truly are. Sometimes you're too influenced by external factors at the moment, so your answers align with what's expected from you rather than how you naturally would behave. And lastly, people don't know themselves that well to the extent that they can't answer honestly from their core on the question. There is a method to tell you how to type yourself without a test, but maybe we'll talk about it another time. So that's all. Thank you for watching.